Hi everybody, welcome back to First Chapter Friday. This month we are going to be reading a book by Onjali Rauf called The Star Outside My Window. Now this book does deal with some pretty heavy topics, but it's done in a way that's easily presentable to children, and it kind of makes the story move along very well. So let's get started. Okay, Chapter 1 of The Star Outside My Window by Onjali Rauf. Here we go. Chapter 1, A Map to the Stars. I have always wanted to be a star hunter. Everyone else calls them astronomers, but I think star hunter sounds so much better. So that's what I'm going to call myself. But I'm not going to be the kind of star hunter that looks for old stars. I want to find brand new ones. The ones that have only just been born and are searching for the people they left behind. I read in a library book once that stars can burn for millions of years, millions and billions, and even trillions of years. I hope that's true, because there's one star I don't ever want to stop burning. I don't know where it is yet, but I know it's out there waiting for me to find it. Back in my real house where I lived with Mom and Dad, I had 3 whole shelves of books in my room, and at least half of them were all about stars and space travel. The walls and ceiling were covered with posters and glow-in-the-dark stars that I begged Mom and Dad to get me. But the best thing in my room was my special star globe, which sat right next to my bed. From far away, it looked like the globe of the world, but it wasn't. It was a globe of the night sky. And instead of countries and oceans, it lit up with all the constellations you could ever think of. There was a different constellation every time you switched it on, and I knew them all by heart. That's why new stars would be easy for me to spot them, because I'm a star hunter. If you know a picture by heart, it's easy to tell when something about it is different. I wish Mom hadn't forgotten to pack the star globe. Sometimes I miss it so much that I wonder if I'll ever stop missing it. I miss it even more now that Noah and me have had to move to this strange new place that we're living in right now. We've been here for 2 days, and even though the house is much nicer than the last one we had to hide in with Mom, I'm not sure I like it here. It's full of creepy noises, like floorboards creaking when there's no one there, invisible things tapping on the window at night as if they're trying to get in, and tiny little squeaks and scratching coming from behind the walls. My little brother Noah thinks the house is haunted. He gets so scared at bedtime that I have to make him lie down with his head under the covers, and I hug him tight until he falls asleep. Noah's only 5. It's okay for a 5-year-old to be scared of ghosts, but it's silly for a 10-year-old to believe in them, so I just won't. No matter how much the noises make me want to hide under those covers with him. But it's not just the noises that make this house feel strange, it's the people in it too. There's a boy called Travis who doesn't speak. He's 11, tall and skinny, and he looks like an elastic band that's just been stretched way too far. His teeth stick out from under his lip because he has silver braces on them. His mouth looks like a builder tried to squeeze lots of bits of metal scaffolding inside and just didn't know where to stop. Most of the time, he just stares at me with these huge gray-brown eyes that stick out like ping pong balls. I don't like people staring at me. My cheeks turn bright red and it makes me feel like running away. But he keeps doing it, even when I just stare back at him. Then there's Ben, who has huge, fluffy black hair that looks like he's put his head, that looks like it's been put on his head by a giant ice cream scoop. He's 10 years old like me, with bright brown eyes that look like they're asking you a million questions, and a shiny round pimple on his left cheek that he keeps poking when he thinks no one's looking. He always wears a Newcastle United hooded sweatshirt, the wrong way around. And he eats popcorn and crisps from inside the hood as if it's a bowl. That's kind of a cool way to wear your sweatshirt, isn't it? Have the hood sitting right here so you can just sit down and eat your snacks. I might have to try that. Ben says strange things and asks me lots of questions, as if he's a detective on a TV show and I'm the criminal. Questions like, hey, why are you here? And do you guys need to get adopted too? And holy big fat goalie, Anaya, don't you like fish sticks? Can I have them instead then? I hate being asked questions almost as much as I hate being stared at, especially when I don't know the answers and my voice isn't working. So whenever he asks me anything, I just look at the floor and I shrug. Finally, there's Sophie. Sophie's 13, which makes her the oldest out of all of us, but she's still shorter than Travis. Sophie has long, straight, bright red hair and exactly 27 brown freckles across her nose. I counted them as soon as I met her because I like freckles. I think freckles and stars look nearly the same, all tiny and fiery, and it's fun to see what shapes you can make out of them. I kind of wish I had freckles, but I don't. I tell her that her freckles make the shape of a blue whale or a ship with 3 sails, depending on which way you connect them. But Sophie doesn't like me or Noah. So I don't think I'm ever going to tell her. I don't know, or I know she doesn't like us because whenever Mrs. Iwochukwu isn't looking, she gives us I hate you stares, and she narrows her eyes and grits her teeth. Getting one of those stares always makes my hands and feet go ice cold. Mrs. Iwochukwu is the woman who owns the house we are all living in, and is one of the strangest grown-ups I've ever met. She wears lots and lots of necklaces and beads and bracelets, so whenever she moves, she makes clunking noises, kind of like marbles moving around in a bag. She also smiles so much that I think her cheeks must hurt all the time. I've never seen anyone smile as much as she does. Most of the time, I have to look around to see what she's smiling at, because usually you need a reason to smile. But Mrs. Iwochukwu, she doesn't seem to need one. When I first met her, I thought she was Ben's mom, because they have the same kind of hair, all big and bouncy, and the exact same color skin. She has shiny, bright pink lips and wears lots of glitter around her dark brown eyes. And her accent makes her sound as if she's half singing and half telling you off. I don't know if me and Noah like Mrs. Iwochukwu yet, but I have to try, and we have to try to make her like us too, because she's the only one who can keep us together now that everyone else has disappeared. That's what a foster mom does, keeps kids like me and Noah together when their moms and dads have disappeared. I never knew what a foster mom was until 2 nights ago. I had a real mom up until then, so I guess I never needed to know. But when Mom left, the 2 policemen and a tall woman in a black suit came and said we had to go to a foster home so we could meet our new foster mom. I didn't like the sound of a foster anything. They sound like pretend things, things that try to make you believe they're yours when they're not. Noah didn't like the sound of them either and began to cry and scream and hiccup straight away. Noah only ever hiccups or cries when he gets really, really scared. Mom said it was my lifelong job to look after him. So when he started crying and hiccuping in front of the policeman and the woman in the suit, I tried to tell him with my eyes not to be so scared because I was there to protect him. But I don't think he saw my eye words because he cried and hiccuped the whole time we were sitting in the back of the police car, and then all through the night too. I wish I could have said nice things to him with my real words instead of just my invisible ones. But my voice vanished when I heard Mom leaving us, and it still hasn't come back yet. I think it will come back as soon as I find out where Mom is for sure. That's why I can't wait until I'm a grown-up to become a star hunter. I have to become one right away so I can find out which part of the sky Mom is in now. Every star in the sky has a name and a story, and extra super special stars become part of a constellation and part of an even bigger story. I know because Mom explained the truth about stars to me properly after we watched The Lion King together. The Lion King is my most favorite cartoon film of all time. Mom let me and Noah watch it whenever Dad came home from work and needed to move furniture around the house. Mom would wink and lock the door, pointing to the remote control at the telly and say, "Let's drown out the world, shall we?" Sometimes Dad would bang on the door and call for her, and she would have to leave us alone. But we didn't mind watching it on our own, too. Noah loved Pumbaa and Timon the best and always giggled and danced whenever they came on. But my most favorite bit was when Simba's dad tells him that all the great Lion Kings of the past are looking down from the stars above, and that because of them, he doesn't ever have to feel alone. When I heard Simba's dad say that the very first time, I asked Mom if it was only kings that would become stars. It didn't seem fair that queens couldn't become stars too. And what happened if you didn't know anyone who was a king or queen in the first place? Did you have to be left all alone? Mom had frowned and looked down at me with her chocolatey brown eyes. Then, after thinking about my question for a bit, she said that of course queens became stars too. And not only that, ordinary people who had extra bright hearts sometimes went on to become stars. They went on to become the biggest, brightest stars in the sky, even bigger than the stars of the kings and the queens. So everyone was bound to know at least one of the stars looking down on them. I'm glad she told me that, because if she hadn't, I wouldn't have ever known what the noise meant when I heard Mom leave us and go and turn into a star. As soon as Noah falls asleep and his arms go floppy enough for me to let him go, I'm going to make a map of all the stars that I can see outside our window. I'll work on it every night until I've found all the new stars in the sky. I've got to try to find the brightest, the newest star there is, because that one will be Mom's. I know it's hers when I see it, because Mom has the biggest, brightest heart of anyone that I have ever known. And people with the biggest, brightest hearts never end up in the ground. They end up in the sky. And that's the end of chapter 1 of The Star Outside My Window. I hope you enjoyed it. It was nice hanging with you guys again today. So I guess I will see you next month. Okay? Bye.